Welcome. Another episode of the Wheat.
And White Bread
Man,
Podcast. Welcome back. I'm your host, White Bread. This
I'm
is
your
Wheat
other
Bread.
host over here, Wheat Bread, man. What to do, White Bread?
We're getting back to it. We're a little late this week, but
Great cause, though.
we had a couple of things that we had to take care of earlier in the week that prevented us from taping. We had to attend a funeral service for a great man who we'll talk more about in the upcoming episodes. Pillar of the community, local to us. And quite frankly, the world needs more people like this man. But,
Absolutely. I drink to you, sir.
And then we also have some exciting news to mention. We're going to be taking the Wheat and White Bread podcast on the radio.
Hey.
You're gonna see the Live for Life show on WDIB Media. On that show, I'll be Big J.
You know,
on this show,
I'm still
White
Wheat
Bread.
man.
I got multiple personas, I guess, but it's gonna be airing every Saturday at 1 p.m.
Every Saturday.
Check it out, WDIBmedia.com.
WDRB.
Apple Radio, TuneIn, Streamer. You just gotta download the WDRB app, and you can hear our show.
Check it out.
1 o'clock Eastern time. So, with that being said,
another great episode of the Murder Mondays. Even though
we're gonna do Murder Monday, but it's a little late. But we wanted to try to get a show in this week, even though we've both been busy. But
we do it for the people who we talk about, y'all.
Yeah. So first thing we're gonna mention is this. We got some updates on this Louisville shooting, tragic mass shooting.
Yeah, man.
That took place in Louisville, Kentucky, at a bank. An ex-employee, current employee, I guess. He wasn't ex yet. Mm-hmm. I guess he was on his way out the door. But this guy's name was Connor Sturgeon. 25 years old. He had recently purchased an AR-15 type gun. No history of violent activities. His mom actually called 911 when she found out he was on the way to the bank from his roommate, and she was, from what she had said, he was a good kid.
And what did they do for you, White Bread? I'm just curious. Like when you heard his mom's 911 recording, like did that instantly make you like have a little bit of empathy for the young man, or were you still like justice needs to be served?
I felt empathy for his mom, because no one wants to get that call that their kid's about to do a mass shooting. I mean, I feel bad for his mom. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for all the families that were affected by this guy. For him, he made his own choices.
He did.
I mean, whatever led him to this choice or whatever, it doesn't matter. You have to be accountable for your actions. And if you're struggling to be happy, well then go get yourself some help. You know what I mean? And
man.
Be happy.
Please.
Be happy. Go seek the proper help that you need. I mean, there's a lot of people out here not happy. There's a lot of people out here negative. Trust me, it's hard for me to get out of bed a lot of days. I mean, but I never think about going to grab a gun and going to shoot up a bank or a school or something like that. I mean, that just never crosses my mind. I don't know what depraved thoughts are going through these mass shooters' minds before they actually commit these acts. A lot of them seem to be excited they're about to do it. It's almost like a excitement thing. Like I mean,
I told you that, boy.
How
it's almost common.
You know how they've been studying football players' brains for like CTE? They need to study mass shooters' brains and see what's going on inside of their head and see if there's like something that they have in common, because it takes such a depraved mind.
Well,
to
the
do
last
something
few
like
mass
this.
shooters that unfortunately we've had to talk about, they haven't been able to live through the event for them to be able to do that.
Well, you know what the sad part? No, but they can still study their brain. So the sad part about it, like,
they can still study their brain after the brain activity stops.
Well, that's how they study the football players' brains. Like after Junior Seau passed
They brought
away.
people in who current and former players who've had concussions.
Yeah, but they can also they can also study your brain post mortem.
I didn't know they could be able to do all of that.
Well,
like
they can. I'm just telling you that that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they they study people's brains who commit crazy acts. Like Aaron Hernandez's brain, they studied his brain, found out he had extensive CTE. Junior Seau, another one who was living on a beach surfing every day and then decides to shoot himself. They studied his brain.
Chris Benoit.
Extensive CTE. Chris Benoit might have been a little roid rage though. I don't know. He might have had a couple other things going on too.
He done took countless drops.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying it didn't have anything to do with it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying is he had other issues too though.
Yeah,
I mean, you had a perfectly happy Junior Seau, who everyone, all accounts being that he was this happy guy surfing every day, living the dream on a beach. You know.
So are you trying to say like some of the shooters, like this gentleman right here, possibly had CTE?
No, I'm saying is there might be some trait that they share.
Okay.
That could possibly lead people to maybe come up with a way to maybe pre-detect on who could possibly pull off an act like this, because you know like the Uvalde shooting, 19 kids, all young like Zoe and younger. Like, how do you turn a gun 19 times on a child? Yeah. You have to have a depraved mind.
But you know what, White Bread? I'm gonna say this the same way they do when black people commit heinous acts of crime.
Yeah.
You know, they always want a toxicology report to see if he was high under the influence.
Well, they do that.
I would love to know if this young man. I would love to know if this young man was under the influence, because
I don't know.
It's quite possible because drugs, as we know, have different effects on different people.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to speculate that he was on drugs unless someone tells me that he was on drugs.
I get that.
But
the same way we speculate that he may have a brain injury, it's no different.
I didn't speculate that. I don't think he has a brain injury. I said that he might share characteristics with other mass shooters if they studied their brains. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm not comparing him to anybody. I'm not saying. I've just said it could be a thing.
Because I have to believe, like you're saying though, if you are so willing to turn a gun on a child, you can't be in your right mind.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a very small percentage.
You can't be in your right mind, whether that's through injury or whether that's through drug use or whether that's just through hallucinations. Yeah. And even if you hallucinate, I'm assuming there's a diagnosis for that.
Yeah. I'm saying there's just so far this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in April. It's not even tax day yet. And we've had 145 shootings where 4 or more people have been shot, not including the shooter.
Pitiful, boy.
145 in 3. I mean, we got 3 full months down. We got 14 weeks, so that's 10 per week?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, folks. We got to do better than this. We got to identify people that could potentially be a problem and figure out if they need help. And the people's families need to. This kid's mom, day late and a dollar short, I guess, but she tried.
Yeah.
Families need to hold their family members accountable too, and be able to see things and prevent a tragedy like this from happening. Or maybe the family members, as part of these common sense gun laws, maybe the family members could report somebody and be like, hey, before you give him a gun, or her, or whoever, they need to be mentally evaluated. I'm just telling you, I know them better than anybody, and if it's somebody's mother, father, somebody's brother, sister, that opinion should be taken with some weight. If it's a close family member, not just some random person trying to get somebody to stop from buying a gun. I'm talking about legitimate claims.
Well, just taking the guy who did the shooting. I'm going to use what his mom said. His mom said that he's a good kid. She said she didn't even know he owned a weapon.
Yes, they don't own guns.
But he purchased a weapon on his own because he's grown. He's grown now. He went and made a choice. He picked out what he wanted and he spent his money. Mm-hmm. So I make no excuse if you choose to be stupid.
I don't think anybody makes excuses for people that do things like this.
Yes, sir. Stupidity, man. But reading a few of the comments, some people always seem to have a warm side about these type of tragedies. But accountability should be across the board for all of us, especially the same way the police. We want to hold the police accountable for what they do because they wield a weapon and they have the power to some degree to kill you.
But then nobody wants to talk about having common sense gun laws, because you can't even talk about it.
But what's
then,
common sense to you though, White Bread?
that you should have proper training. Like, okay, so for instance, like I said, when you go into the military, before they even give you a live round, you need to be extensively trained. You need to know that gun inside and out. You need to know how to take it apart, put it back together, know the dangers of it. There's extensive training involved before the United States military will give you a live round to fire.
Okay.
All right. Why do they have to go through that training? Why does the military have that training if you don't need any? Because you don't need any to go buy one here. You can go right to the store and buy one. You don't need any training. You don't need to prove that you've been trained. You don't need any kind of certificate. You don't need anything. That's common sense gun. That's common sense gun law. How about if you want to own an AR-15, great. You got to go to the same training that the members of the military have to go to before they're given the same exact style gun.
Well,
fair or not, or fair or not fair?
I feel like that's fair, and that's not asking much. And I would say this, excuse me, if that's the case, then we can take it up a notch. Those who do choose to purchase an AR or any type of semi-automatic weapon,
Yep.
if you buy your gun from the actual gun range, you don't get to take that weapon home, even though you've purchased it, until you've completed your training. That gun stays on the gun range.
That would make sense. You can only purchase them from licensed dealers who offer training.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right.
Great, grand idea. Why is that such a... When people mention, because stuff like this has been proposed, people don't even want to talk about it now.
Yeah.
The wheat bread, they don't want to talk about it. You can't mention it. But then when you ask somebody what the gun of choice is for self-defense, we're trying to defend ourselves, they say a shotgun or a pistol. Why do you need more than a shotgun or a pistol? And I'm sorry, but if you need an AR-15 with a 30-round clip to hunt, you better pick a new hobby. Because every hunter I know needs one bullet.
Well,
most of them have bolt-action rifles. They need one round.
I do know this. Ever since I was young, they've always made sure that we as boys at the time were coming up. They wanted us to develop a love for pistols, for weapons. Guns, period.
This is a gun culture, yeah.
Hold up. So, seeing that, I do believe some people buy them because they actually collect weapons. Some people, if
you're that passionate about it, then the training shouldn't be a problem.
It shouldn't.
Okay. If you're that passionate about buying guns, then go to the training.
And I agree, because
pay for it.
Everyone,
go to the training.
It's the same way with a car.
Yes.
When you go get a driver's license, you have to drive with an instructor who will have to approve
and
that how to properly change lanes.
How about this? A gun is like a pistol or a shotgun is like a car or a pickup truck. An AR-15 is like a fully loaded 18-wheeler with fuel on the back. What kind of training do you need to drive that truck?
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? You need to go through hours and extensive training and be able to pass drug tests and do whatever to drive a truck on the highway. But you don't need anything to walk in a sporting goods store and buy an AR-15 with a 30-round clip. You don't need anything. You just need to be able to pass a simple background check.
That's it.
That's it. It doesn't make sense, man. And if you want to own these guns, fine. 100% go buy it. But you have to be trained and you have to be responsible.
But now I'm going to say that, even with that, that doesn't mean that what we're saying will stop these mass shootings. But I would hope
it would go a long way to keep the guns out of the wrong people's hands.
It would deter those people who know that they're pretty much lazy and they wouldn't want to get up and go do the training.
Or they're not going to pass the training because they're going to fuck up when they're in there, because they're going to be there for like a couple of weeks and they're going to be constantly with these people and they're going to be able to notice these red flags and they're not going to give them they're not going to allow them to buy the fucking gun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could go both ways, man. You need people that are trained doing the training. And if you want to sell these AR-15 type guns, fine. Then offer training that's very, on the same par as what the military makes people go through, because that's responsible. Yeah. And that's all I'm asking. Not more training than the military gets, not less training, the same. Because if you want to have that kind of weapon and wield that kind of power like these people do, shooting people down before anybody can even respond, sometimes the cops get there within minutes and there's already 10 people dead.
But I'm going to say something, and this is just Wheatbread's opinion.
Go ahead.
And this is just about all of the shooters in general.
Yep.
Especially when you choose to go to schools and banks and do, all of these different areas, the churches, the supermarkets.
Yep.
If you're that sensitive of a person, because I believe a lot of people are doing dumb stuff because somebody has really hurt their feelings.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If you sensitive, you definitely don't need a weapon.
No, you need to have a thick skin, man.
Because one thing that life has taught me, nothing is tailor-made. It's going to always be struggle. It's going to always be trials and tribulations, because that's what we have to go through to make ourselves stronger. Yep. As a person, so we can be a better for the people around us, and we can be and even if I'm a weapons owner, if I tote a weapon, the same rule, you have to be able to set an example.
Yeah.
Me and Whitebread was talking the other day, and then we're gonna get back into the show, y'all. But
we went off on one of our typical rabbit holes.
I'm gonna share this I'm gonna share this. I asked Whitebread, I said, remember I asked, I said, what you think will happen if you just walk down Main Street around the corner over here with a shotgun on your back? I asked you, what do you think would happen? And you was like, oh, well.
We could make a TikTok about it. I could do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I have nothing to hide. I can just throw Big Bertha on my back and just walk down Main Street and see if cops show up, and you can be like across the street taping me.
Yeah.
I mean, we could see what that would be a good little
I wouldn't
want
to do it because I know some of these cops that we're going to talk about in one of our upcoming.
I wouldn't even have it loaded.
Here,
It wouldn't even be loaded. I would have it. It would appear to be loaded, but there'd be no bullets in it. I wonder how they'd react to me. That would be a good thing. I think Wheat and Whitebread might do a little field trip and see what happens. And then we can flip it around and have you put it on.
I'm not putting it on. You crazy as hell.
You see how confident I was about doing it,
You crazy as hell. Because I ain't going to play with my life like that. Because I already know you got folks who want bragging rights to say.
I wonder.
Say
you know
that
what
they
though?
killed
You know what
one
would be
of
a
them.
good thing though? And let us know what you think. What if we were both walking down the road and I had the shotgun hanging around the front of me and you just had a pistol on your hip, and we were just walking down the street together?
Yeah.
What do you think they would say to us?
Ain't no saying to us. You might be all right. They going to pull up. They coming to me first. I'm telling you that, Whitebread. They coming to me first.
Well, then that's why
they gonna lay me down one way or the other. They gonna draw their weapons on me instantly.
I don't think they draw the weapons.
They gonna draw their weapons on me instantly when they know that I have a weapon. Period.
Yeah,
they're not gonna take a chance. I ain't no probably. I know I'm right.
You think they
and
get
you
out?
Know I'm right.
You think they get? You think they?
Everybody think that they know how it feel to be one, but they sure don't want to be one. And that's part of the reality of why folks don't want to be treated as certain people get treated.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And that type of treatment, you playing with your life when you in my boots doing that to these folks. Now
that's something.
If you were to have either one on you showing.
Yep.
You can have a big 40 cal on your hip, hanging on your side, shining every time the sun hit it.
Yeah.
They're going to approach you and still be willing to walk up on you and talk to you like a man to see what's going on.
But see, this is my
But
thing.
if they see me.
Now, this is my thing. This is the real question that needs to be asked. We live in North Carolina, which is an open carry state. So neither one of us would be breaking the law. That's the point.
Fear is real, bro.
Why would the police, we're probably not going to do this, but I can guess that they would pull up and they would get out and they would have their hands on their guns or their guns drawn. And why? We're not doing anything wrong. We're just walking down the street.
You know why it'll be so different for me, Whitebread?
Yeah.
It's because the people who look like you going to be scared when they see me with a weapon in broad daylight like that. Cause ain't no buts.
And I'm just saying this, but these
white people get scared when they see black people with guns, man.
I got it, man. I know that.
They
I know
get,
that
they
to be
get
true,
extra
but we
scared.
are way, listen,
And when the
all
police pull up, hold up, they gonna be more worried about Miss May and Miss Sally.
How about this?
Their comfort.
How about this? Let's do this for the fans. We're going to continue this conversation on our next radio show. So not this Saturday, not in 2 days from now, but in a week from now, we're going to continue this conversation right now that we're having. And we're going to expound more on it about gun control, common sense gun laws. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you want to mention. And maybe we'll bring it up. Have a question? Submit a question, but we got to move on because we went down a rabbit hole, homie.
Yes,
we're gonna move around. We're gonna quickly move on to this tragic story. Hold on, we went down a rabbit hole, man. We went down another one.
But it's serious
like
though,
DJ
y'all.
Khaled.
I mean, when we talking about these things, this is really serious, man. I mean, and it's a sickness that's going about the land. It ain't the guns, it's the people who have these weapons and what they got on their mind. A gun sitting up. Why you think a weapon that was found in the middle of nowhere? It's not a threat unless somebody points it at somebody with bad intentions.
All right, so let's move on quickly. We have another story that we want to mention, and we're already 20 minutes in, so we got to quickly move through these stories.
Well, hold up. I got you, White Bread. Come on, man. This one right here. To just sum it up, man. I guess they were 5 friends, and they got driving, stole some alcohol, and got into a fatal crash.
So let me go into the specifics here.
All right.
So there was five kids that decided to skip school during National Walkout Day. Okay.
National Walkout Day.
National Walkout Day was a nationwide protest on gun violence in schools. Okay. Well, these 15-year-olds decided to skip out. So they left school. A lot of kids do this. I did it all the time. I'm sure you skipped out on school all the time.
No,
kids,
I never cut class.
I did. I'm not afraid to mention it. I did a lot of times.
I never cut school. I was a good kid.
So they decided to go to this local store. They were seen on camera stealing booze. They got back in the car and they made a social media post that ultimately went viral. But they were vaping some THC. They were drinking these fruit flavored
They were getting
alcohol
high.
drinks. They were getting high and drunk. So the craziest thing about this whole story is the car they were driving in only had one seat and one seatbelt. It was like a NASCAR type car. So the other 4 girls who were in the car were just sitting on the floor, no seatbelts.
What y'all think?
So what happened when they crashed? They were driving at a high speed. They lost control. 1 passenger was ejected from the car, died on the scene. 2 were seriously injured. And now remember, there's 5 of them. 2 were not injured and left the scene and didn't call 911. So this is a very disturbing case of when a group of friends thought they were going to go out and have a good time and friendly and have a great day, and this turned tragic. And now for 2 of these girls who ended up leaving the scene, they're going to have charges pressed on them.
And it's crazy, man.
And, it's just a bad situation overall. So,
And I really had no sympathy, White Bread, because my father was killed by a drunk driver.
Yep.
He was hit doing, driver was doing 90 and a 40.
Yep.
And, so I have no sympathy for anybody who gets involved in any of those because you shouldn't have been doing it anyway.
Well, I mean, it's just about,
I
have sympathy for the kid.
For some reason,
They're 15 years old, man.
When you try to get away, this is why you shouldn't be sneaky. When you're trying to get away with something, something always seems to happen. I'm going to say that again for all of the young kids. When you're trying to be sneaky, normally something always seems to happen where you're going to get caught.
Well, I respectfully agree to disagree on that because I skipped out on school many times and I never got in a car accident where one of my friends died or never got in trouble.
But how many times you were stealing alcohol when you cut school?
Seriously?
I mean, your uncle owned the store.
My uncle didn't own a store.
So, I thought he had a gas station. I'm sure he
he had a gas station.
He sold alcohol, didn't he?
No.
Oh, well, I ain't never seen a gas station that didn't sell alcohol.
Well, it's not, he didn't have a convenience store. It was a little family-owned gas station
in Asheville,
where he fixed cars.
If you go to Asheville, up there where the casino is, a dry county. You have to take your own alcohol. I have seen it.
Well, fun fact: the town where my mom lives and my uncle's gas station is in is also a dry town.
That's crazy. That's crazy, y'all.
Fun fact: shout out Barrington, Rhode Island,
But for
dry town.
But for the kids, and for those who have children who are going to be becoming of age to be able to drive, and they feel like they know how to drive, you have to really let this story be something that you really introduce them to, so they can understand some of the possible consequences of driving drunk as well as unsafe.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, we all
please.
try to warn our kids. The kids just make dumb decisions, man.
Yeah.
They were 15 years
That's
old.
what kids do.
We all made dumb decisions.
Yeah,
when
that's
we were
what kids
15.
do.
So I mean, hearts go out to the families of the people who were injured. The girl who died.
Yeah.
Tragically, somebody lost probably a sister, a daughter, a cousin, or whatever. 15-year-old girl tragically died. I have 3 daughters. 2 of them are older than that. 1 of them is younger than that, and I wouldn't know that's there. They haven't even begun to live yet. They haven't even had a chance to live their life yet. So,
And our
it's
hearts
always
go
a
out
tragedy.
to
And,
you.
and moving on to this great segue into this next story, this woman in Italy, Texas, kills three of her kids,
Y'all should see this.
and
this
2
duck,
seriously injured.
this mud duck.
Look it up. Woman in Italy, Texas. Her name's Shamaya Hall, 25 years old.
This sister ought to be shamed of herself.
And they're not even sure if this woman's related to the kids. This is the weirdest part of this whole story, is they don't even know if this woman, what her relation is to the kids that were found in this woman's house. But a social worker went to the house to just do a normal check, child CPS, right? Go to the house to do a check. As soon as they get there, the CPS worker says she wants the kids removed from the house. She thought the 5 of them were still in there. She wanted them removed. She dialed 911. Sheriff's department shows up. They go in the house. They find 3 kids dead. A 6-year-old boy and 5-year-old twins, boy and a girl, dead.
Y'all listening at this, y'all?
Two others so seriously injured, they didn't specify the injuries, but I'm talking about a 4-year-old boy and a 13-month-old girl. So seriously injured that they needed to go to the hospital.
Man.
I'll tell you what, if you've never watched a Komodo dragon eat something, please go do that, because that's what they need to do to this chick. They need to throw her out on Komodo Island and let them have their way.
Put her in the white girl.
I'm telling you, man,
Oh,
there's
they
a
killed
special
her.
place for people like this.
Yeah.
You're talking about 3 children dead. Babies!
Yeah, we need that Komodo pit, don't we?
2 5-year-olds and a 6-year-old. We need these babies need justice. This woman needs to serve some hard time under the jail. I don't know. Hopefully she gets the death. Texas, I think they have the death penalty. She's been charged with 3 counts of capital murder.
Yeah, they do.
They don't even know what this woman's relationship is, but a tragic story out of Italy, Texas. Check it out, folks.
Yeah.
Again, Shamaya Hall, 25 years old.
Lock her up. Lock her
Oh
up.
God, she needs to be under the jail. But quickly moving on to our next story is I'm sure everyone's seen the video. It went super viral. A guy that looks like Coach Andy Reid from the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs.
He don't
Very
look like
similar.
Andy Reid.
He looks like him a little bit.
Don't put Coach
I'm not
Reid
putting
in
Coach
this
Reid in the
story.
same. I'm just saying this.
No.
When I first
He
saw the
look
video,
like Bill Belichick.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw the video, I thought it was him.
No.
And then I had to look at him hard. And I'm like, no, he's not. That's not him. But he's got the same kind of mustache. He's a big guy. He had a hat on. He kind of looked like him a little bit. But whatever. That's not the point of the story. The guy walked up to the Ohio police and confessed to mistakenly shooting his friend, who he was friends with since high school. This guy's in his 50s. They're 58. The woman was 57. They were friends since high school, and she wanted a different gun, and she came to his house, and he was showing her this .40 caliber pistol, and I guess it accidentally went off, and she was shot in the chest, and he's been charged with murder because, you know, she might not have died if he just called the police. He didn't report it till 24 hours later. They found her dead.
Yeah.
But it's not clear if she was dead from the gunshot wound immediately. She might have bled out. He could have saved her life. And this is another tragic instance. The guy just got scared. He said he didn't know what he was doing. He was driving around all night, stopped at multiple gas stations, just kept driving from gas station to gas station, and just sitting in the parking lot for hours trying to figure out what to do. And finally, he drove to the police station and he turned himself in. And
The power of the P, USSY. That's all I can say.
it is going to be that's
something serious,
that's a
man.
tragic case. But
These
I
folks
want to
crazy,
save some
man.
time for our last story, so I'm just going to quickly.
Hold up, man. I give
Yeah.
my opinion on the
Go
story.
ahead, man.
White
Go ahead.
bread.
Sorry,
Hold
sorry,
up, man.
sorry.
You
Go
don't
ahead.
just move on.
I
Like
know.
It says the weak
we're just
and
running
white
late.
bread.
We're just running late. I know. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
man.
Sorry.
But I mean, just real quickly, I ain't gonna
Yeah.
take up a lot of
Yeah.
time because we do got a smash to go out hard with.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one for a minute.
But for this gentleman, and this is just, I tell white bread all the time. So many people make decisions that they can't go back on, especially after they come back in their right sense. Because I can tell you, some people really lose it, and a lot of people don't know how to contain it after. And that goes for anybody. When you're taking a lot, and ain't no telling what the circumstances. And to me, from a man's perspective, the only thing that I can see that ever make a man kill a woman is if she's cheated. This is just
No,
me.
he said it was an accident.
Well, I
he
mean,
said they were friends.
I get that, but then though, ain't no telling what the relationship was.
Or I don't. Again,
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing
Go ahead.
my opinion in.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Because this seems like a decent guy. He seemed like a decent man when you read up about him. He seemed like that. He's been working. Hey, just been living a normal life. And just like anybody else, got a nice little circle around him. At least he felt like he did, and but alcohol and crazy thoughts don't mix.
I mean, there's nothing saying that the guy was drunk. And
I
there's
know,
nothing saying that he had
but
mental problems.
I'm giving.
I don't
this
know where
man-
you're going with this.
I'm giving because I'm going in the direction. I hope that when he says that it's a mistake, he's able to justify why or what it was that played into this mistake happening. Versus this was not a
I
gentleman.
think it was just a mistake. The shit happens all the time. Guns go off all the time. Guns misfire. Guns just shoot all the time.
Well,
they're
thankfully,
dangerous.
Thankfully, I've never heard misfire. I've heard just gunfire a lot coming up. But
I mean,
the
you know
misfires,
guns.
the only time I
guns
seen a
misfire
misfire is when somebody playing with it and they ain't got no.
Wait a minute. The first time that I brought my shotgun up to your house, it misfired on the.
You
on
were
the
out
third
there,
round.
but you were out there practicing target practice.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
different.
My gun still misfired.
He shouldn't have been targeted. He's not living in the
His gun
area.
didn't misfire. He said it accidentally
He was not living
went
in the
off.
country.
Dude,
Okay,
it said
but
it-
how a gun actually go off unless it's in your hand?
I don't know, dude. I'm just telling you what he said.
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
go- you're
So
going-
if
you're
you're
going
playing
down
with a
this
weapon, if
hypothetical,
you were cleaning your
drunk,
weapon,
he was
if you were
crazy.
cleaning your weapon while you're drunk, if you're
wasn't
cleaning
drunk.
your weapon while you were doing other things, the only way, all I'm saying is a misfire can only go off if you have it in your hand.
No, accidents with guns happen all the time.
I've
What are you
never seen a
talking about?
gun that's just sitting on the
Okay.
shelf, just magically fire. all
No,
I'm
I'm
saying.
saying is when you're handling it, sometimes they fire. That happens all the time, man. Come on.
I
You
just
can't-
hope that
you can't say that guns just don't fire when people just.
I
Have them in
think
their
this
hands.
gentleman deserves a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, other than these mass shooters. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not. We're not. We were just talking about the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's move on.
That's
to the
just
next
my
story.
opinion of the story.
You went
White
down-
bread making it so complicated.
You went down.
over
I'm
it
not.
for
No,
y'all.
you made it. You went down
Yeah,
like
yeah.
hypothetical lane.
I mean, that's
Like, you were
what
going
I
on
do.
way, that
This
way,
is
that.
a
The guy was drunk. The guy was crazy. The guy was
show, man.
The guy was crazy, drunk.
I tell you what, audience. From now on, when we talk about when we bring about these black stories, and we're gonna read, they're gonna bring alcohol use, drug use, everything into play to justify the wrong. So all I'm saying is,
all right.
I'm bringing it into
And
play.
no one's trying to make a justification.
So
for
y'all,
it.
we gonna keep track from now on.
I automatically said the guy said it was an accident.
Yeah.
I reported the story.
But he walked up to the police.
You decided to
He
go
had
down hypothetical lane. That's not my
He
choice.
had a
Yours.
guilty conscience, and that's good to at least see that at least he still has a conscience.
Right. Well, it
Because-
seems like the guy just made a mistake,
Yeah.
and he's willing to pay for it. But I think what he's realizing now is he could have probably saved his friend's life, and now he probably should go to jail for murder because he intentionally didn't help her. He left the house. He freaked out. That's his
crazy.
choice. So quickly moving on because we got a quick good one for the end. We want to just update people. But
Hold on. Before we go into it, hey, catch us this Saturday and every Saturday on WDRB Media at 1. What are we Eastern?
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
I just had to
outro.
plug that because
Yeah.
we often running and we getting towards the end.
We're getting towards the end. We'll do that.
Come on, White Bread. I know
Can
it's
I
your
move
show.
on now? Can I please
It's
move
your
on?
show, White
Can I
Bread.
please
Go
move
ahead.
on? Can I please move on to the next topic
God, I
now?
can't even get a word in, y'all.
No, I let you go.
Let's go, White Bread.
I let you take.
Let's go, White Bread.
I let you take 4 exits
see what I had- see
on
what I had
the
to go
hypothetical
through?
highway.
You see what I had to go through?
I let you take 4 exits before I said, "Hey,
Let's go,
maybe
White
you should
Bread.
turn around." All right, so little tragic story out of Evanston, Illinois. There's this Clark Street Beach. Okay, it's about 15 miles north of Chicago. So people who are from the Charlotte area be like the Huntersville area of Charlotte. You know what I mean? So it's like a little outside of Chicago, and there was a beach, and it's a couple miles away from the Northwestern University campus.
Right.
And I guess it was just 3 people got shot. 1 died, 2 were injured. Two suspects fled the scene. This happened just before 9 p.m.
That's crazy.
But they had to lock down the campus, so it kind of made the national news. They put the campus in, locked down for about an hour or 2. Didn't know where the people went. They fled the scene. They were heading towards the main campus where they fled the beach. They were heading towards the campus, so they put the campus on lockdown. Still haven't found the guys. Or guys, girls, whoever, I don't know who was involved, but there was multiple suspects fled. They said first on foot, and then they jumped in a car and drove.
Scared
drove off.
now, huh?
So minimum of 2, could have been more than 2 suspects. But this is another tragic story of why can't we just settle things like we used to, man? Like I don't remember this many people getting shot when I was growing up. Do you? Just over random shit? Or did people fight it out and just take care of it and just fucking like... I remember people just meeting up on the schoolyard and just, all right, let's go. And then they got it done and then it was done.
To quote
You squashed it.
Hey, to quote Forrest Gump, stupid is.
Stupid does.
It's stupid does.
It's true, man. And and this is another tragic story. You got anything you want to say about this? Just an act of random violence that came across that I wanted to talk about.
All I know is a fool is born every day. Mm-hmm. And some of these folks are so foolish, especially when they harboring other emotions that dictate action.
Well, there was about an 18-year-old was killed and 2 15-year-olds shot.
And so, but when you have no respect for nothing or nobody, it's cool for you to be willing to do something stupid. Yeah. And to me, for all of these folks that we talk about on the Murder Mondays, man, I mean, it's no excuse. It's no excuse, even though I may sit here and throw hypotheticals out to try to make an excuse. It's just for conversation and dialogue.
You're the only one that's allowed to make an excuse.
Right. I'm the only one because on a lot of stories that we bring.
Especially when we talk about 45.
We already, I'm always play devil's advocate now. Shout out to 45. Shout out 45.
Not on this show.
Hey, but that's for another topic. But I'm just saying, as it pertains to, hey, we got more stories that we could have did to go with this. But for all of these folks, man, who got these weapons, man, and they acting dumb, you sitting here. I don't really know. You know me, White Bread. I be conspiracy theories sometimes. I'm open to listening because that's what we do. We interact with the people.
Yeah.
And if the people's having different thoughts of what could be this or what could be that or what this possibility may be, I have to bring it to them as a possible voice for them.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I support anything because, hey, I feel like killing anybody is wrong unless it's justified in self-defense.
Yeah.
That's the only way. If you're protecting your family and your property, absolutely. If that's what it has to come to. But when I was born and coming up living and learning how to live in these streets and live out around people, hey, killing was the last resort. Like he said, man, it used to just, man, scraps. Or when I moved up here to North Carolina, they call it putting it on the one. Let them catch a fade or whatever the case. But, hey, something got to change, man.
We got to start treating each other better.
Man, you just got to see people like they worth something.
Yeah. Only
You
go
know.
for that gun when you're trying to defend your own life.
Right.
Honestly.
Or your family or your property.
Yeah. But
that's it.
you know,
Because everybody has the opportunity to walk away. That's all I'm saying. Everybody has the opportunity to walk away. I don't care what the situation, unless someone is holding you against your will, that's different. Then, yeah, by any means necessary to get up out of there. But if you know you have the opportunity to walk away or turn around or stop in your tracks and be able to think about it, then I ask from Wheat Bread, please start thinking, people. Please start thinking, especially if you know you're a gun owner and you know you got a short fuse and you quickly to get feel disrespected or whatever. Please stop and think. Please try to add a little bit of more thought into your decisions before you do things. That way you won't be like this gentleman who we just previously spoke about, who conscience was eating. He probably couldn't sleep. Probably couldn't eat. Probably had diarrhea because he's nervous as hell because he about to go to jail around these gangsters.
Jail, it could have been a lot of that.
For a lot of people who've never been to jail, White Bread, that's a nervous.
But you're also like,
that's a nervous time.
I want you to try to think about. This was his friend from high school. Maybe he just honestly felt really bad.
And he felt bad, but he felt bad. I'm sure he did. That's why I said. But some things, like he said, this was an accident. We'll see how this plays out for the gentleman. I would say manslaughter. I wouldn't give him.
He got charged with murder. Can we move past that story?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
We're gonna talk about a local story. We're gonna talk about this local story. We're running out of time.
I just felt bad, man. I felt bad, y'all. I felt bad.
I know you feel bad, but we're gonna move on now. All right. So we're gonna stop that topic, and we're gonna move on to a local story. Now we're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, like everybody knows.
Who we talking about though?
Shanquilla Robinson. I already told you we were going to talk. I didn't have a chance to say it. Hold on.
I'm just introducing her back to whatever this segment was.
If people haven't
calm
been
down,
following,
White Bread.
I'm not the one who was hostile.
Calm
if anybody hasn't been following, it's the Shanquilla Robinson, 25-year-old woman out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Last October, at the end of October, I think it's October 29th. Before that, she had traveled to San Jose del Cabo with multiple friends that she had met in college. The following day,
multiple people. They weren't her friend.
They were. According to all the reports,
I'm just saying
they were her friends.
Yeah.
Okay. She went away with friends. That's what she told her family. So the next day, she was found dead. Friend says it was alcohol poisoning, but they did an autopsy down in Mexico, and she died from spinal injuries, neck injuries. There was a social media video that had gone viral.
That girl, man.
Of these friends that she was with attacking her.
A grown man attacking.
It wasn't. It was the person can be seen throwing her to the ground. They didn't specify whether it was a man or a woman. A man standing nearby can be heard saying, "Quella, can you at least fight back?" Robinson's father confirmed that it was his daughter being beaten in the video. Says she's not a fighter. She didn't believe in drama. Robinson's death certificate raised more suspicion. Now, according to the Charlotte Observer, a police report shows that a doctor saw Robinson after someone called for help on October 29th. The doctor found Robinson with stable vital signs. She was dehydrated and unable to communicate. The doctor was told that she had drank a lot of booze. According to the police, the doctor wanted to take Robinson to to the hospital. Her friends insisted that she treated at the vacation. The doctor tried to give her an intravenous line before she began to have a seizure. At that point, one of Robinson's friends called an ambulance. At 4:49 p.m., when the doctor detected no pulse, she and one of Robinson's friends began giving CPR. Paramedics administered more rounds of CPR and adrenaline discharges from a defibrillator. Robinson was pronounced dead at 5:57. So they tried to resuscitate her for over an hour. The doctor was actually there when she
beat the brakes off the girl, man. The girl broke her back and everything.
So she had a seizure and she passed. And they said that her friends were telling the doctor that the reason why she was in the state that he found her in was because she had drank too much booze, where it seems like the state that she was in was caused by physical violence. Mm-hmm. And the Mexican authorities have issued warrants, but the good old government hasn't extradited the people back yet to Mexico. So we're waiting on this, and they've also said that they're not going to pursue federal charges against the people either, which I didn't think was going to happen because I don't know how it works, but the crime actually didn't happen in this country, so I don't know how they could be charged with a federal crime when the supposed crime happened in a different country. So I don't know how that works, though. Maybe somebody can comment in who knows a little more about this than me. I didn't have time to research what the rules are and why they didn't pursue a federal case.
Man, we had this same story on our show a few weeks back, and I'm gonna tell everybody, you know, everybody ain't your friend. Everybody don't have your best interests at heart. Everybody don't see you in the light that you may see them. And this young lady fell victim of that. These people, after this happened, and soon they called themselves informing somebody, they left and came back to America immediately, because they already knew that they had fucked up.
Why were they allowed to leave?
I have no
leave
idea.
Mexico?
I have no idea. I don't think that it was taken serious enough. That's why they were able to go back to the airport, make it through customs. After it got back here and her folks went public with this and it made national news,
Yeah.
that's when it prompted Mexico to have to make a decision. How are they going to handle this? They didn't even choose to press charges at first. They had
to get the once they got
right.
once
they got the
autopsy results, they pressed charges.
And when they found out that this was pretty much murder, when they found out it was pretty much murder, then I mean they had no other choice because it happened on their piece of the territory.
Now, one thing that we'd be remiss not to mention
is
there's a discrepancy between the Mexican autopsy and the one that was conducted in the U.S.
Yeah.
The United States, when they did the autopsy on her body, which I might say was after she was embalmed, so they did not determine the cause of death or show a spinal cord injury as the Mexican autopsy did.
Yeah.
You know, for the family to be watching her being beat up and then she dies the same day, like I don't know how I don't know. I don't even want to think about it, but I'd be like Steven Seagal.
All I can say,
out for justice, yo. I'd be out for justice.
I have to say this, and this is just something I'm gonna leave with our viewers and our followers. Shout out to all our followers, by the way. But man, you can't expect your life to go right if you don't treat people right. You can't expect to live or anything a long life if you're not willing to treat people right. I don't care who you are, what your situation is, financially, emotionally, spiritually, or whatever. But if you don't treat people right, you ain't gonna be here.
We are running so late.
I know, and this is just because we were late getting this recording.
Well, because we were talking about the AR-15s
we had a great start of the week. We broke ground up on some momentous things.
We're going back to the radio.
We're doing it for them. So hopefully they can acclimate with us a little bit while we get this thing brought on the national stage.
I just want to bring it to the people. When you listen to the show, just wait for the last segment.
Yeah.
Okay, because the last segment is the wheat and white.
But listen to the show, by the way.
Listen to the whole show.
Because he got a great show for you.
It's basically just an insight into me, who you're dealing with, who your host is, who is Big J, and why am I here? That's basically
Q&A.
the whole show. And then we go into we did the Q&A with Big J. Wheatbread came into the studio, helped me out with that. And then we got a wheat and white bread segment in, and it was a good one.
It was a good one.
So
it was great.
People listen to the show, like and subscribe on the podcast. All you gotta do is search at Wheat and White Bread.
Yes, sir.
And then again, check out the radio show, WDRBmedia.com. You can download the WDRB app on Apple Music, TuneIn, Streamer, many, many more.
Come join us.
Come join us every Saturdays at 1 p.m. It's going to be the Live for Life show. We've mentioned the Maryland Arena Foundation on here before. It's a big part of the show. So if you want to know more about the foundation, more about the mission, check out the show. Saturday at 1 p.m. The Live for Life show featuring the every week we're going to have a wheat and white bread segment on the show where we talk about different topics. Send us in some ideas.
Please.
All right. We love to hear from our fans. Like and subscribe. Again, check us out on YouTube at Wheat and White Bread. This is the Wheat and White Bread podcast. I'm White Bread.
On Wheat Bread, baby.
We'll catch you on the next trip.
See you.